Okay, so we've looked at critical value tables and calculated values for different stats tests. I'm now looking at different kind of question which the examiners can ask you. It requires you to work out the degrees of freedom, so it's not about n anymore. Now there's something called a contingency table, and it looks like this, and it's really just a table which puts all the main variables in that you're looking at in a study. So let's say, for argument's sake, this psychologist is looking at the effects of music and no music on recall between men and women. And so you've got here the two variables is music, no music, men and women, and then you have totals on either side. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, this is the results that were collected, and it's a score out of, let's say, 10 or 12 or 15 students. So 15 males, 15 females. Now, if they're ever expecting you to work out the degree of freedom, they're going to give you a small, simple equation like this one here, where it says degrees of freedom is rows minus 1 times by columns minus 1. Now, you could make the error of thinking it means columns 1, 2, 3, 4, but these total ones don't count. And as you can see, this one doesn't have anything here anyway. So really, it's actually just two conditions we're looking at. So let's say for argument's sake, let's start with the rows. So these would be, across here. So again, total's not going to count. That top row definitely isn't going to count because there's nothing in this one. So it's just two rows, men and women. So that's 2 minus 1 times. Sorry, I live in South London. Let's just wait for that police car to go by. Just 1 second. Okay, done. Right, so 2 minus 1. Okay, hold on. Clearly it's a big, big issue. Hopefully that's the last one. Okay, so 2 minus 1 times, and then now the columns. So it's again 2 columns if you look, because it's music and no music. So it's 2 minus 1 again. So what we are left with is 2 minus 1 is 1, and then times 2 minus 1 is 1. So it is actually degree of freedom 1. Now, most of the time, the degree of freedom is 1, but I'm just saying be careful. Take the time to look at the scenario, and it will give you details. So let's have a look at one more scenario to end off this degree of freedom stuff. So if we take the same equation, I've just put it down below here. So this time we've got, again, ignoring the totals because that's not relevant, and that top one obviously isn't. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3 columns. Sorry, I keep on starting off with the columns. Let's start off with the rows as the equation says. So the rows are 1, 2, 3, 4 rows minus 1 times 3 columns minus 1 equals. So we're looking at 3 times 2 equals, and then in that case, the degree of freedom would have been 6. So really, that's the kind of level of mathematics they're expecting, students to really be able to calculate. You've seen how the critical value is calculated from the first recording of the stats test. And that's it really for this round.